because we were going broke, because we had so much stress, so much pressure. It was such an awful time. We were just getting no wins, no money, nothing. It forced us to find a way out. So it wasn't super clear to us. We had an audience of developers and we were trying to promote this product and almost nobody would buy. It was giving us false signals like this product is bad and we should kind of quit. Nas and I just stayed at the house, never fucking left, only worked on the product and only talked to the customers. And magically, things just kept improving. The product kept improving, our bank accounts kept improving. And we were like, okay, boom, we got our markets. We just kept going regardless. And eventually we pivoted into finding our audience, which was like content creators. And then we ended up doing like $100,000 in a week. Focus on building a product as a product founder fit. If it fits you, then you know guaranteed there is market of one. That can get you through the really hard parts where you try to sell it to different audiences and nobody buys. I believe in like, don't go funding. I think just build it bootstrap by yourself. You don't need somebody's money to do it. Just lower your expenses and lower everything as much as possible. We can definitely do it with no money. If we just keep doing that and scaling the shit out of it, we can be $1 billion company. The biggest mistake we made when we were building up Poppy was not going to the right people at first. And I mean, we didn't know who they were, but we were trying to grow Poppy within our own community at the time. So we had an audience of developers and we were trying to promote this product that we had made to them relentlessly and almost nobody would buy. And at that time, we didn't really have the pitch down and we didn't know who it was perfect for. So like, we didn't know if Poppy was going to be a product for content creators, a product that researchers would love, maybe people who are going to Harvard and studying, they would love it. We had the thesis that like, hey, it can help you with content, but overall, initially what it was helping us with and me with when I was using it, like beginning stages, right, was really just put a lot of my research together in one place. And that was really helpful. And then it was helping me also make emails. But I wasn't going super heavy on it, making me YouTube content yet or Instagram content yet, because Nas and I, like we were always kind of content creators ourselves for years before. So we were already like good at making content without needing help of AI to tell us what we need to talk about or what we need to make. So it wasn't super clear to us. And what we focused on a lot was selling it to the existing audience of developers. And that ended up being one of the biggest mistakes that we were making, because it almost never led to any sales. It was giving us false signals like this product is bad and we should kind of quit and not do this product. And the reason why we were going to the developer audience was because with Clever Programmer, which was a brand that like we built before Poppy, it was a brand that we taught people how to do coding essentially. For that brand, we taught them how to basically get developer jobs. And for that brand, Poppy did not make any sense because for developers, it was not a good fit for the product. And so luckily how we overcame it is we just like did not give up, even though we were working on, even though we were trying to share it with them and they kept not buying it, we just kept going regardless. And eventually we pivoted into finding our audience, which was like content creators. And then we ended up doing like $100,000 in a week. And when that happened, we were like, okay, boom, we got our market. So my thing to you, if you're building a product and you're trying to find something, maybe your product is not a product market fit for anybody. That's also possible. But if you focus on building a product as a product founder fit, as in if it fits you, then you know guaranteed there is market of one, right? Or if you're doing it with your co-founders, there's a market of two that's using it. That's kind of your proof. And that can get you through the really hard parts where you try to sell it to different audiences and nobody buys. And you go, yeah, it's not a good fit for them, but I know it's a good fit for me. So I got to just find people like me. That's what helped us stick through. So for you, really try to build something for yourself that solves your own problem. That'll get you through not finding lots of different markets that might not fit your product. And then eventually when you come across a market where it's like a banger, then you've essentially found your fit. So that's what we did to kind of overcome that. I've even heard of product founder fit. So let's talk about product founder fit and product market fit. Like, what the heck is the difference between these two? This was something that I was having a conversation with Cliff. So me and my co-founder Naz were having a conversation with Cliff Weitzman, who's the founder of Speechify. And when we were talking with him, Cliff was like, you guys should focus on a product founder fit. And something that was amazing, and Speechify has like over 100 million users, and it has like 300,000 ratings on App Store. So it's like literally one of the best apps. And Tim Cook, when he was presenting on Apple keynotes, literally it has Speechify behind him as a keynote presentation. So the software is great. And what I was realizing on the call with him was Cliff would keep using his own software over and over again through the Zoom call. And it's a speech-to-text software, but he kept using it over and over again. And I'm like, holy fuck. Like, I'm kind of envious of that. Like, I want to build something that is something that I genuinely want to use that much, because he just kept using it nonstop. And every product that I had built in my life previously wasn't something I used myself that much. Like, for example, when I built like a Python course, right? And we sold a Python course, or when we built a JavaScript course and we sold it for our previous business, Clever Programmer. Like, that was not a course I used myself every day. It was something I made for other people. That was great. It was still valuable, but it wasn't something I was excited about using. It was a product market fit, but it wasn't necessarily a product founder fit, right? And so when I saw what Cliff was doing, and when him saying, hey, look for product founder fit, meaning something that you love with your heart, regardless of if the market says they want it or not, start focusing on that, start going hard on that. So then we had lots of different software that we could go down the path of. We could go down the path of we had Prompt Flow, which is like basically a prompting engine and prompting, AI prompting type of software that we could have built. We could have built there was a few other software we had in mind that we could have built. There was one that was like YouTube Notes, and it helped you take notes on YouTube videos and search through them really fast. It was going to be like a Chrome extension. That's kind of what we had in mind. And then a few others. And all of them were really not so much that we were excited, like it was going to be life-changing for us, but we just knew there was need for it, and we thought that we could help, right? But then eventually when we came across Poppy, and we came up with the idea of coming up with Poppy and building Poppy, we realized holy shit, this is something we actually enjoy using. And even in the early MVP stages, as soon as we had the MVP within the first week, we would constantly be using it. And we were like, wait, actually we literally can't use ChatGPT or Claude for these things. And wow, the way that we could bring in a YouTube video, or the way we can add an Instagram reel, or this or that, we really can't actually do this anywhere else. This is actually useful for us, and we don't have the solution. And if it existed, we would have just paid, and it didn't exist. And so we ended up just building that for ourselves. And that's really the product founder fit. This thing fit us like a glove. We just didn't have a market for it yet, but eventually we persevered because we believed that it's a good fit for us, and we ended up finding it to be a good fit for other people. And so there you go, product founder fit. Yeah, so if you're thinking about starting an AI SaaS company in 2025, and you're deciding whether it's a good business or a bad business, I would go through a couple of things. One, do you want to start a software company? Do you enjoy that? If I just give you background on Naz and I, we love software. We've, Naz has actually more experience on the development side and coding side. And he's been basically, working as a professional developer for over 10 years now. Right. And I got into coding myself for 10 years, and I loved it. And I would problem solve in coding, and I loved that. And when I worked at a job, I loved that. And when I built things for myself and internal tools with myself, I loved that. And I was also just a fanatic with software in general. So I found myself constantly going and using different software. Every software I can find, I would subscribe to it. So for example, when I was building a course-based business that I had for Clever Programmer, I signed up for all the course-based software. I was using Kajabi, I was using Teachable, I was using, I signed up on Thinkific, I signed up on, can I put the course on Discord? Signed up on every platform, set up every platform, and then I would find out, actually, I won't use this one, this one, this one, this one. Let me stick to Kajabi. For checkouts, I signed up for every possible checkout software you can imagine, like Samcart, Thrivecart, and there was a bunch of other ones, Stripe, Plain, bunch of other ones. And I signed up for everything. and then I would use it all, and I would be like, ooh, this one is freaking awesome. So I realized a long time ago, like I had a huge passion for just software. Like I love it and I love using it. And I had a huge knowledge. I ended up developing a huge knowledge base of software. And so, and then even when Naz and I were going to be building, starting a software company, we didn't know what it was going to be. We had a passion for software. And because we found ourselves oftentimes just even coding in our free time, like anytime we would have free time, that would look like a vacation to us. We would always be like, can we take like a weekend off and just go code? Oh, that's going to be so fucking awesome. Like if we can just take some time to go code for like 3 days, that felt like the ultimate, vacation or whatever, if you want to call it. So I think if you have those tendencies where you enjoy software, maybe you even like coding, and you want to jump on this opportunity with AI, like whether your thing has AI or not, doesn't matter. Like as long as you're serving a purpose and solving a problem with software, you're fine. But I think it's a great opportunity only if you really believe in it. I'll give you a quick example of me jumping on an opportunity that I didn't believe in. So in 2022, Web3 was hot. I jumped on Web3. In 90 days, we ended up making like $1 million from like closing sponsorship deals, and we closed them with a bunch of companies, and we were teaching like Web3 stuff. It was honestly a complete money grab. I didn't, believe in it that much, like somewhat. Like I was like, oh yeah, cool. You can send money to like a friend and it gets there instantly, like with USDT. Like, oh, that's nice. But if I sent it through a bank, it would have gotten there in 2 fucking days anyway. So really, like, what's the big thing? My own crypto wallets got stolen multiple times, like $10,000 or $20,000 got stolen from my own crypto wallets. So I was like, fuck this technology. I hate this shit. But I saw a huge opportunity. I went for it, made a lot of money, and it was great. But the problem was like, I was doing something I didn't really believe in, so it was temporary. And then it ended up like kind of dying. Whereas with this, I really feel like we're genuinely building something we believe in. And I think for Naz and I both, it's very easy to see that this is what we want to do for like the next 10 or like 20 years. So I would say, yes, it's a good opportunity if you genuinely believe in it, and it's something you want to do. And scaling our SaaS, I will say there's a lot of hard work. There's definitely a lot of luck involved too. I think a lot of people don't talk about that. We've scaled it to now it's at 1.8 million ARR in 11 months. 11 months. And it's at basically this month we're about to do 500,000. Last month we did 360,000. So monthly revenue is also really good. I think that it had a lot to do with the expertise that Naz and I had in software and in understanding other software and having a huge knowledge base of it and passion for it. So I don't think like everyone should do this, right? You really have to know yourself. If you enjoy it and you're good at it and you have a knack for it, then you should go for it. But don't go for it because like me and Naz are going for it and you see us doing it well, or you see somebody else doing software and you're like, I want to do it just because of them. Go for it if you really believe in it. Because again, this is going to be hard and it's going to take a long time. Like when we were building the software, we had no income, nothing coming in for like 6 months, and we were about to run out of all of our money. And our banks were starting to get overdrafted, like that little money that we had left. And we shut down everything else and just went at it day in and day out. So it wasn't like the smartest idea on paper. But again, for us, it was like really fun. Like it was genuinely fun. It felt like play, but to other people, it would feel like drowning, So I would say if you have the skills, then yes, this is a good place. But if you just don't have any software skills, you've never done software before, and it's not really a passion of yours, like I would just do the thing you're really good at. That's what I would start a business in. So if Poppy literally vanished and I had to build it all over again and we had to build it from scratch, I think we could build it from scratch and get to where we are even faster. I mean, we literally know who the audience is even, right? Like, so the skill, now there's a skill, like for example, one big skill that we didn't have and one big belief that we didn't have before was, can affiliates and influencer really work for us? And I would give this credit to Nas, which was he looked up the story of Jenny AI. And I remember he would keep saying like, holy shit, Jenny AI like actually got an influencer to make a video and they made like $80,000 from a TikTok. And Nas was like really adamant that that could be the way for us. And I wasn't sure because I'd never had an influencer make a video and then I made 80 grand or 10 grand or even 5 grand. Like that never happened. I was always my own influencer making content. So I was like, yeah, maybe. But I think what we need to do is make our own content and get that to pop off. And then one day, you know, Nas just kept going at it and doing outreaches. Eventually he ended up finding somebody, that person made the video, and boom, we just like made a whole bunch of money. Now with what I know and the skills that, like the belief that now we have, which is, hey, it's possible that creators, the right creator can actually blow up your distribution and make you a fuck ton of money. So that was one belief. And then the skill of going and being able to land them and negotiate deals. With that, yeah, we could actually build something like Poppy and scale it up. Now, will it scale up exactly just like Poppy? Will it have the same product market fit that Poppy has? I don't know. But it will definitely have, let's say, like we could get it to 100 or 200K a month revenue, like quite quickly, especially if it's the same software. If I'm literally building Poppy from scratch, because we know that the market loves it. So that's what I would say. Yeah, the luck thing was involved where we ended up finding an affiliate that like really banged for us. Because it's really hard to spot who the affiliate is going to be that's going to make us the most money. And most affiliates are oftentimes bad deals that like don't actually yield a result. For example, out of 400 or 500 affiliates, maybe like 5 are really profitable. Everybody else is like, kind of okay, or like loses you money. And so imagine if we went through those 400 affiliates at the start. I don't think we would go through 400. I think we would go through like 10, 20, and we would just be like, I don't think affiliates work. And we might stop and go into some other direction. Now, where talent comes into play and perseverance and hard work comes into play is like we didn't quit. We sacrificed every other opportunity. Those things were important and vital. Because when luck showed up, we were there to receive it, right? Because otherwise you'll miss it. But we still did get lucky because we could have picked some other product that we really loved that had no product market fit or had nowhere near the virality that this has. So that's where I would say like kind of luck comes into. I think it would just be like, shut the fuck about everything else. Just like work on creators, like just work on finding affiliates and influencers and distribution. That would be pretty huge, I think, for me to like go back because we had so much like panic and stress and just like not making any money, and we just like never knew for months and months and months if it was right or wrong. We just did not know. And I think if we just like, if there was a me from future whispering in the ears of the younger me, not inappropriate things, you know, but if that was happening and it could just be like, bro, you just literally just hit up influencers. Like, I swear you're going to hit 100 grand in the next month or two. Like, just don't do anything else. Just keep hitting up affiliates. That's the guaranteed strategy that'll get you the distribution you need. I would have just focused on that a lot harder and went instead of like having 50 different strategies and not knowing. You know, I believe in like, don't fucking go funding. I think just build it bootstrap by yourself. You don't need somebody's money to do it. Just fucking do it. You know, just lower your expenses and lower everything as much as possible. If you have to live in somebody's, you know, your parents' basement or whatever, do that too. But lower that, because I hate operating, feeling like I owe people debt, because I cannot in good conscience feel like that's not debt, because I will work my ass off to pay people the money that they gave me back. So psychologically for me, that's like really challenging to take somebody's money and then try to operate off of that. Now, if I was trying to build a business that required money, like an inventory, like let's say I had a startup idea, but it required like AI, but with houses. Well, I would need like fucking 10 million in capital, you know, because we're talking about real estate and development and all this stuff. So getting funding makes sense. But in most cases, for most people, I just don't think it makes sense. I think just shut the fuck up and focus on the actual product, because you won't get soft, you won't get lazy. You'll actually do the hard work that's required. You're actually going to get on calls with customers. Because like I wouldn't have gotten calls with like hundreds of customers, and Nas either. Like he wouldn't have gotten calls with like hundreds of customers if we had millions of dollars sitting in the bank. It'd be like, oh, have somebody else get on the call. My time is more important. Have somebody else do this. My time is more important. And so we wouldn't be in the ground and like make it profitable how quickly we made it. But because we were going broke, because we had so much stress, so much pressure, it was such an awful time. Like, yes, it was awesome in terms of we were innovating, but it was also awful too, because we were just getting no wins, no money, nothing. It forced us to find a way out. It's like, you know, if we could play the clip of the Uma Thurman scene. Have you ever watched Kill Bill? Oh, dude, you should watch it. It's so fucking good. So for you guys wondering, that's Nico, the camera guy. And so I'm talking to Nico. But Uma Thurman in Kill Bill, there's a fucking scene where she's literally in a grave, right? And she's breaking it literally starts off with her breaking the thing that she's in, the casket, and she breaks it and she comes out. And that's like literally this is the first scene. Making your idea actually work, that's what it feels like. You're buried alive, you're fucking suffocating and dying, and you have like this short-term window where you're going to suffocate and actually die. And through that, you have to fucking be hitting the casket and breaking it up. And then you finally break it and you're like, oh. And then you fucking come out and you take out a sword and you kill thousands of people. That's what it felt like having to do. But we would not do that had we had millions of dollars and we were perfectly fine and living super cushy. So I think that for us, that was a very important move to not take funding. And so for you, I would say like focus on 99%, like doing it bootstrap. Like only go to funding if truly it requires funding, which I can almost promise you your idea doesn't. You can definitely do it with no money. Just try to focus on like our own business. But if I were to say software founders, like the biggest mistake I see most software founders, and just founders kind of in general make, is they focus on the equivalent of their business card rather than their product, meaning they're trying to impress other people and make sure that they look cool in front of their peers. So they want that Y Combinator badge. They want that funding so other people can look at it and go, oh, they got funding. They have something like the sick startup. They want like TechCrunch to cover them in a news article. Like it's Fugazi, you know, if we can put the Wolf of Wall Street clip, Fugazi. It's a mirage. It's bullshit. So it's a bunch of status signaling and virtue signaling that I think a lot of founders get caught up in. And we know some people who've gone 20 or $30 million and then they're kind of just out partying and they're on a yacht and they're just fucking doing fuck all and not improving their product and not relentlessly working on it. That's the mistake that I see a lot of people making. They're going to every event, talking to every person and doing all this stuff. What we discovered is Nas and I just stayed at the house, never fucking left, only worked on the product and only talked to the customers. And magically, things just kept improving. The product kept improving, our bank accounts kept improving. And it just kept going until the product got amazing and our bank accounts are getting fatter. And so I think it's just the core thing is the product and the customers. Everything else you can ignore. You can skip all the conferences. You can skip all the Y Combinator. It's like, dude, you know, it's so fucking stupid. Like, instead of actually working on the product and getting better as a developer, a team leader, visionary, what the product actually needs, customer feedback, what you're actually doing is like you're spending time learning how to write a pitch deck to impress investors, and you're spending like 3 months on that. You're then also having to have a huge lead flow of investors. So then you're outreaching to those investors for months. Then you're getting on, you know, weeks or months worth of calls, pitching one investor after the other. And it's like all that time that's wasted, and all that time could have just been spent you actually finding the genuine product market fit, finding your actual customers. Like force yourself so you get your customers to be your investors, because those are the most aligned. So now that we're at 0 to 500,000 a month and we're at like almost 2 million ARR, funding actually makes less and less sense every day for us because we're growing profitably. which is where you want to be. We're around a 50% profit margin, which, could be better, but is not the worst. It's pretty good. Our churn is very low, like sub 1% churn, like 0.8% churn. Refund rates are super low, under 5% or under 6%. Yeah, now at this point, definitely no funding, because we have money coming in and we don't really need to take funding in. Like, yeah, maybe there might be some scenario where the only reason I would take funding if there was genuinely a bottleneck. Like if somebody said, if we have developers that build this feature, we'll literally make $20 million next month. Like let's, for example, say we get a enterprise contract and they sign a deal with us and they're like, we're guaranteeing you like fucking $10 million, right? We sign this thing. We guarantee you $10 million if you can build this in the next 3 months. And then we go, oh shit, it's actually going to cost us $4 million to build this functionality. We need like 50 developers and working on it for 3 or 4 months. That would be a great case for getting funding. We just be like, hey, here's an enterprise contract, $10 million. They'll pay us this in 3 months. We need devs. We literally don't have like $4 million of capital worth so we can get that many devs. They pay us. We go get the devs. We build out the thing. We get the 10 million ROI on the $4 million funding that we asked for. Like if it's a very clear what that funding can result in terms of ROI, I think then it makes sense. But outside of that, for us, now that we're actually making money too, it doesn't make sense otherwise. Right. Or they have the right connections and then they can bring devs with them. Like if they're strategic investors and maybe if we partner up with somebody. Oh yeah, that's actually a great point that Naz just made. So for example, the other reason funding or makes sense is like we're not looking for funding. It would be an investor that we're looking for that's an active investor that actually has strategic or like tactical benefits to the company. Like they can actually grow the company. They're an active investor. So what do I mean by this? Somebody just going, here's $100,000. That to me is just like they're giving me debt and super fucking annoying. But if somebody's like, hey, here's $100,000. This gives me a little part of your company, but also I have a bunch of enterprises that I could connect you with, and you can close like $5 or $10 million worth of deals through them, most likely. That would be great. Happy to talk to that person. Happy to have them as an investor. Like the only reason we would take funding right now or investment is if that investor then actually comes in to help us blow up the company. Or maybe there's somebody huge, right? Imagine if Alex Hormozy joins our company and they join our company and they become the face of the company or whatever. We pay that person, we take the initial funding, $50 million, $100 million. We take funding, we give them part of the company, and then we're like, okay, and then they basically help grow the fuck out of the company. In that case, for us, it would make sense. The goal remains the same, which is get the company to a $1 billion valuation. And I think we can definitely do that. I was actually talking to Nico, the other day, and we were in the pool, and after the pool, we went into the hot tub, of course, because we're at a fucking resort in Mexico, and it's lit. And so I was talking with Nico, and you asked me a brilliant question, and Nico was like, what's the goal? And I was like, okay, we want to get to $1 billion. And he was just like, so how much money do you have to be making? Like, what do you have to do to get to $1 billion? And I was kind of like shocked. Like, I don't think I actually did the math because it just felt like it's 10 figures. It's 3 fucking commas. It's so much money that you just kind of, it was just something I was saying. It was like, oh, we're just going to work so hard. We're going to get to a fucking $1 billion. Like it was something crazy like that. It was just like, we're just going to do this thing. But then when I actually started doing the math, I'm like, wait, if we actually start making $100 million a month, then it's like $1 billion in a year. But then I was like, wait. We're trying to go for $1 billion valuation. We don't actually need to be making $1 billion a year to get to $1 billion valuation. We can actually make 10 times less than that. We can actually make $10 million a month. Because if we're making $100 million annually, it's very possible we actually get $1 billion valuation. That's not unheard of. It's like, I think Notion is at 100 million ARR. And their valuation is $1 billion. So I just thought, okay, then if we get to 10 million a month, and then when I looked at 10 million, I'm like, wait, that's not that much money. I know it sounds crazy, but like we're at $500,000 already. So if you actually do the math, we're 1/20th of the way there. Holy fuck. Imagine being 1/20th of the way there to being a billionaire. That's crazy, to $1 billion company. And that's within the first 11 months. You know, my roadmap for hitting $1 billion company was like 10 years. And so we're already 1/20th in the first year. Well, by that math, in 20 years, we would be a $1 billion company. But that's linearly speaking. Our growth trajectory is happening like a little bit of a hockey stick. So we're growing faster and faster, which means, and then there's ARR, right? So that next year, the growth will happen even faster. But and when I say ARR, that's annual recurring revenue. But anyway, so so basically, we're growing at this pace. Now, if we get to $1 million a month, then we're valued, we're 1/10 of the way there. We would be valued at already like a, $100 million company, because we would be making like 10 million annual at that point. So it's not that far. We're at $500,000 already. If we get to 1 million, we're already 1/10 of the way there, being $1 billion company. And then if we just keep doing that and scaling the shit out of it, we can be $1 billion company, which is, it used to feel really crazy to say that, I think. Nas, like, didn't it feel really crazy saying $1 billion company before? Like, it almost sounded like completely unbelievable. But it's starting to feel like believable to me when I think about like we're 1/20th of the way there. Like, it's starting to, like you heard that, right? We're 1/20th of the way there. That makes me feel like it's actually a thing. Like, it doesn't seem crazy to me anymore. It actually sounds like a realistic goal, which is absolutely insane. Like, now to me, it feels like when I was going through a cutting phase and I was like, well, in 8 weeks, I will lose like 12 pounds. And then I did, because I was like tracking my calories and shit. It kind of feels like that. It's like, I see we're 1/20th of, like, dude, that's fucking crazy. $500,000 to going and becoming $1 billion valuation, and basically getting to $10 million a month. Because that's, if we get to that, we're $1 billion company. That's crazy. So going from 500,000 to 10 million, honestly, a couple of things need to happen. One, our back end needs to get like fucking 3 to 5 times more jacked, meaning we need to have like a high ticket offer that's 10 times more expensive than any of our highest paying programs yet. So what will then happen is our average order value of a customer, or like, will go from like what it's at $800-900 right now. It'll go 5 times more, basically. When that happens, in simple terms, what that means is like a month that we're making 500,000 right now, if we have a solid back end, we should be making like $1 to $2 million per month almost. So I think the back end will get us there a lot of the way. So that's one thing that needs to happen. The second thing that needs to happen is our affiliates we need to just, well, actually, here's the simplest way to put it. So if we actually take our affiliates, we're making 500K. So let's take 10 million and divide it by 500K. That's 20. If we just take our affiliates and we get 20 times more affiliates than what we have right now, that's actually a crazy fucking way to put it. We start making $10 million a month. So like, let's say right now we have 200 affiliates. If we get to 2,000 affiliates, 200 affiliates times 20, 4,000. If we get to like 4,000 affiliates, we basically become a $10 million a month, $1 billion company. So if we grow, if we do it just through one way, affiliates, then, and nothing else, just fucking explode the affiliate side. But if we also double it on the side of back end, then basically imagine we add 2,000 new affiliates and then we make our back end double, and we would be a $10 million a month company. So, I mean, logistically, yeah, if we get to 4,000 affiliates, we get to $1 billion company. So we're at $500,000 a month right now, and we want to 20x that shit so we can become a $1 billion company. Effectively, we just got to go from our 200 affiliates currently to 4,000 affiliates. We do that, we start hitting $10 million a month, and that's a $1 billion company.